work never ends. I find it fascinating how so many of these supposedly liberal, progressive, white, heteronormative women are always trying to drag me into drama with BIPOC and LGBTQ community leaders. It seems like every time a white passing, female identifying liberal feels that they're not getting enough attention, they create some kind of drama which posits allies against one another so that they can be at the center of this, epic wherein the most privileged in our community get to take on the role of victims. So that said, I want to take just a moment today to clarify a few things about myself and my intentions and goals in relation to my public activism. So first and foremost, let me make it abundantly clear that I have no desire to be anyone's white savior. My community activism is driven by one goal: the dismantlement of our white supremacist, heteronormative, patriarchal culture. And what does that mean? Well, it means that I'm willing to use my privileged voice boldly and loudly. It means that I'm willing to take risks and piss people off for the sake of spotlighting injustice. It means that I'm willing to learn and, quite frankly, make mistakes in the public eye, because I hope that this will allow others to learn with me along the way. It means that pride and vanity are not drivers of my activist work. It means that I recognize that I'm fallible like everyone else. I am in need of constant growth and improvement. So all of this considered, I want to send a very direct message first and foremost to BIPOC and LGBTQ identifying members of my community. If you ever feel that I've overstepped in some way, allowed the intent of my actions or words to take priority over their impact, please understand that I not only want, but count on your feedback so that I can redress my work. Now, I understand that marginalized populations and community members are not and should not be obligated to constantly educate the most privileged members of their community, especially those who refuse to do the work. But I also know that those of us working diligently to do our part need constant constructive criticism. Now, obviously, I cannot pledge to always agree with someone just because they're a member of a marginalized community or group. But I can affirm that I will always welcome and seek out criticism and feedback, and that I am never too big to offer an apology or correct myself if and when my well-intentioned words or actions cause harm as a result of my inability to recognize an inflection of my own privilege. This is complicated work, and it takes all of us being willing to have the difficult conversations necessary for us to all move forward together. I hope that if nothing else, I have shown my willingness to always try to do better. Now, for those individuals socially ascribed a hetero white and therefore privileged identity who follow my work, I have a message for you too. The incessant heroization language that is often directed my way makes me incredibly uncomfortable. I need you to understand that I do not consider my activism unique or special. I always appreciate support and encouragement, but I do not need or seek your praise. What I want is your participation. You must understand that if more privileged voices and bodies actively confronted white supremacy, bigotry, and its advocates, there would be more safe space and local appreciations for more diverse voices and bodies. So this means calling out persons even within our liberal communal groups and settings too. Quite frankly, even in these supposedly safe spaces, people in power will often acquiesce to supremacist heteronormative hierarchies for the sake of keeping the peace. I guess the main messages that I want to send today are this. No, my activism is not selfless because I am personally invested in the creation of a more equitable community and culture that benefits everyone, including myself and my loved ones, many of whom encompass underprivileged identities. My activism is meant to inspire other allies to action while also deterring racists, bigots, and predators from inflicting harm. I don't need accolades or recognition, but I do need feedback. My activism is guided by the BIPOC and LGBTQ voices with whom I advocate and depend on for this critical feedback. And without it, I cannot do better. That said, my activism will never be dissuaded by the selfish distractions of fragile, white-passing, heteronormative liberals desperate for attention, or anyone who's unwilling to address their grievances with me directly. We have work to do. So let's just get to work, shall we?